Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. We're pretty sure that absolutely no one in the bold and beautiful audience was surprised by the character's latest resurrection. From the moment Steffi stabbed the baddie, we were suspicious, even as Kimberlyn Brown gave interviews about how sad she was to be putting Sheila to rest. In a new interview with Deadline, the actress insists she had no idea she was being brought back, but says she is now negotiating the new contract. Pick your favorite expression, be it, "we weren't born yesterday," or "this ain't our first rodeo," and apply it liberally. Make it make sense. Bold and beautiful Sugar and Sheila story is so full of holes we can see exactly what's coming. We weren't sure exactly how things would play out, and we still have some major questions regarding how Sugar saw this all playing out. But Sheila dead? That was never really a consideration. Now, with Deacon and Finn having found the nine-toed wonder, it all comes down to one very big question, which is pretty much at the heart of every soap storyline. What happens next? Obviously, Sheila was not the person who attempted to do away with Steffi. Instead, she appears to have been kidnapped by Sugar who, it seems likely, wanted to frame her as revenge for what went down between them years ago. You can read all about the Sugar/Sheila history here. Something tells us this is going to go a long way in softening how Finn feels about his, say it with us, biological mother. This will, in turn, lead to big problems with his wife, Steffi, who definitely will not suddenly start feeling differently about her monster-in-law. But here's the one thing we really hope won't be happening in the days and weeks ahead: Sheila waking up with amnesia. Now, if immediately upon waking Sheila plays the amnesia card, and the audience knows she's faking, that's one thing. We much prefer the Sheila of yore, who was a master manipulator, to the one who divides her time between waiting tables and trying to convince people she's changed. This Sheila doesn't even bark, let alone bite. If, however, Sheila wakes up claiming amnesia, and we're left to wonder if it's real or a con job, well, we're a lot less interested in that. Why? Because we've seen it 1,000 times on other shows, and in every single case, the person regains their memory, only to continue faking in order to keep everyone in the dark. Ever since Sheila showed up at Finn and Steffi's wedding, she spent more time whining about wanting to be a part of his life than scheming to make that a reality. And that's a shame, because what made Sheila such a success in the past was her wickedness. This is not a character who is meant to stick around for years or having romantic subplots. She's the kind of villain you bring in for a while, so they can rain destruction down upon everyone in sight, before being sent to prison or killed off in such a way that they can come roaring back whenever there's a need. What in the world is going on with Sheila and Sugar? Bold and beautiful stories commonly require suspension of disbelief to a certain extent, but this Sheila/Sugar stuff is a real story and a half. Follow along as we don our detective hats and poke holes in a story that's already full of them. Stars from Asterisk, all Asterisk, the soaps take a stand on a matter of life and death. Things got weird fast after Steffi stabbed Sheila in the Cliff House. What with the police leaving Steffi and her loved ones to pace and wring their hands smack dab in the middle of a potential murder scene. Then, following Finn's rather macabre moment covering his hand with his birth mother's blood, a cleanup was finally done and the story, strangely, came to a rolling stop. Steffi turned her attention to Thomas' love life and Finn's nightmares/daymares disappeared. It wasn't until Deacon decided to hold a memorial for his dearly departed and saw 10 toes at the crematorium that we really began to take a closer look at the situation in the Cliff House. One would think that Deacon finding out about Sugar's existence would have answered our questions, but instead, it only brought up more. If it was Sugar who went to Steffi's home that night, and not Deacon's lady love, why was it then that we've heard Sheila's voice declaring, "Tonight you die," Steffi, as she lurked in the bushes outside? The next one is a biggie. The working premise is that Sugar must have gone to the Cliff House intending to set up Sheila for murder. So why then wasn't she carrying a weapon? We suppose she could have been intending to choke her to death, which would explain the lunging, but it seems unnecessarily hands-on, and depends heavily on her ability to overpower a younger woman who clearly works out on a regular basis. Messy plotting at best. Further, if she was framing Sheila, why didn't she drive her car there? Did Sugar take an Uber up to Malibu in that getup? It's also curious that Sugar would incapacitate Sheila or lock her up if she intended to frame her. If Sheila's caged, seriously injured, or even dead, then it would be obvious she didn't commit the crime. One would think Sugar would only incapacitate her long enough that she wouldn't have an alibi for the time of the murder. But Sheila hasn't been seen or heard from since. Did something in Sugar's plan go awry? Deacon's discovery at the crematorium, 10 toes, also brings up an important point. The autopsy would have stated that the body had only 9 toes. Wouldn't the police who handled the supposed bear attack have had questions about that not being on the report? Annual recreation of Mexico's Cinco de Mayo victory over French is part of family history for some. Happily for Deacon, within what seemed like minutes of him finding a conversation between Sheila and Sugar, someone conveniently walked into his restaurant to tell him their entire background story. The strange thing was, Lauren left, having realized that Sheila was almost certainly still alive, and went back to Genoa City without bothering to warn a single soul, including her good friend Eric or Steffi, who was terrorized by Sheila just as she was back in the day. Why? Very quickly, Deacon was able to find another clue, which pointed him to the alley where he found Tom, the homeless guy. With Finn now on board, who seemingly can't wait to get a second chance with his birth mother, we can see where this is headed. Sheila will be found in bad shape, exonerated of wrongdoing, at least in this case, and Finn and Deacon will launch a whole new campaign for the Forresters to see her as a victim and cut her some slack. We weren't kidding when we told you that Steffi and Finn's marriage is headed the way of some of our favorite beverages, on the rocks.